Yeah,
Read the
right.
budget book yet?
I just,
Yeah.
went through skimmed the whole.
Stayed up all night last night reading it. It was
But
fascinating.
that's just not gonna keep you up at night, that's the point. Maybe a good mystery novel or something.
DPW has one of the biggest budgets.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hello.
okay. Now we got 4 people we can ask. Oh, we've got 5.
I left my budget book home. I'll go grab one of them.
There's one on
Haven't been
Counselor
taken.
Gentile's desk.
You can look on with mine, Vic.
Which one?
There's one on Counselor Gentile's desk.
Okay.
We'll wait for Vicky to come back and then we'll start.
Oh, and Counselor Kalis is online now too.
Okay, great.
No, this whole dredging, I don't remember it being such a big.
I don't remember it either.
It was
being
like
that way.
11 years ago or so that we did it. I don't remember it lasted this long. I don't remember quite so much heavy. And all the fencing? We must have had fencing, I just don't remember it.
You think they're doing a bigger project this time?
It seems bigger.
Well, we have the right people
We
to
have
ask
the right
about
people
it.
to ask about,
How much longer do you think you're gonna be?
Till May,
yeah,
through May.
Through the end of May? 6 more weeks?
That's what the sign says.
That's a long time.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember it being, I mean, they've been at it, what, a month and a half now?
Oh,
Hello?
They started in March. Hi,
Hello.
hi, David.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
David.
Just
How
waiting
you
for
feeling?
Vicky.
I'm worse today.
That's not the answer we're hoping for.
Ah,
I know.
Better that you're home than here.
I know. It's not COVID though. At least it doesn't come up as COVID.
Did you have a cold? Is it that?
Yeah.
You know, I had one, it lasted like 2 weeks, a little bit more, like 2.5 weeks. It was miserable.
Yeah.
Jonathan, were you away?
No.
No, Jonathan, were you away?
No, I have the cold too. I'm in my second week of it and I'm staying home for a few days.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
This is the advantage of film like this.
Go borrow one.
Yeah, did we actually refer to it during the
Yeah.
meeting? Okay. It was so thick that I just left it.
Well, you brought your computer, it's all online. So
Whatever you want.
Okay, should we start, everybody? Yeah.
Recording in progress.
You could, but yeah, then how are you gonna read it unless you're gonna read it
I
on
know.
and take notes?
Yeah, okay.
So, with this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Public Facilities Committee. It's regularly scheduled, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, yes. And present at the beginning of the meeting are Counselor Laredo from Ward 7, Counselor Danberg from Ward 6, Counselor Leary from Ward 1, Counselor Raina Getz.
Right.
I got Raina, but that's not, I knew that was wrong, from Ward 5. Online, we have Counselor Kelly from Ward 3, Counselor Kalis from Ward 8. Did I say everybody? Except, and me, Susan Albright from Ward 2. And our committee clerk is Scott Matthews from City Hall. And we have a bunch of folks from DPW. We have Commissioner McGonigal, Deputy Commissioner Sullivan. We have Perry Rosenfeld. I don't know your title, Perry.
Manager of Financial Planning.
Okay, and we have the COO, Jonathan Yo. So, our first docket item is 18724, Rhonda the Mayor requesting authorization to appropriate and expend a total of $1 million from June 30th, 2023 certified free cash as part of the vehicle replacement plan for the purpose of replacing 1 2008 and 2 2007 six-wheel dump trucks with 2 six-wheel dump trucks and 1 10-wheel swap loader truck for the Streets Division operations. Mr. McGonigal, are you the presenter on this?
I am, Madam Chair. Thank you, and thank you, counselors. Yes, this is part of our CIP replacement program. The vehicles that we'll be talking about tonight will make up the 2.5 million that we do have in the CIP for vehicle replacements. Some of that funding was already in our operational budget, and those vehicles were already purchased. So this request, as you said, is to replace 3 dump trucks, Two of those are 2007, one is a 2008. Our ideal replacement plan calls for 12-year replacements of these, so these are a little beyond, which has been the norm. We fell behind during the pandemic. For 2 years. We didn't purchase any vehicles, so we're just playing catch up here with those. And the reason that we're replacing 2 6 wheels, those are our primary snowplow vehicles. And we're purchasing 1 10-wheel, which is a larger truck. The swap loader allows us to use different attachments. So it can have a dump body, a water tank, a salt spreader. So a very versatile piece of equipment that we use year round also. This is from certified free cash. As I said, between this docket item and the next one will make up the 2.5 million that is in the CIP. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Council Laredo?
Just quickly, what's it gonna take to get you back up, to the planned maintenance as opposed to where you are now?
Probably we would need to, last year we had some additional funding, so that helped with some of the smaller equipment. Probably another 2 million or so would put us back in line with our normal replacement program. We'll run all those numbers again after the budget this year. And we could actually give you a short presentation on the fleet replacement plan.
And are you confident that the fleet replacement plan, leaving the issue of money aside, is sufficient to maintain a good fleet?
Yeah, so like everything else, Counselor, we played catch up with this. But with some of the additional funding and we've downsized the fleet also somewhat. So we are in very good shape, better than most communities.
Thank you. All set.
Council Kalis and Council Leary?
Thank you. Commissioner McGonigal, is there actually a formal plan that you refer to, or is it just, when something comes up that's 12 years old, we replace it? Or is there a plan where you've already said, okay, these are the vehicles we have, let's get these in the CIP every 12 years type thing?
Yes, we do have a plan, Counselor. Thank you for that. And it depends on the vehicle. So things like our sedans, the optimal replacement for those is 6 years, and you may ask, why is that? They maintain their value, and so the total cost of ownership, because we get a better trade-in, it's advantageous to trade those in earlier. So yes, each type of vehicle has a different replacement plan, and we do have that whole plan mapped out for the entire fleet. There's about 400 vehicles and pieces of equipment in the current fleet.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward, after the budget, I hope you'll come and give us a run through on that plan.
Sure, happy to. I think we, maybe not every year, but every other year, but we're happy to do that. Yes.
Council Leary?
Thank you. Just 2 quick questions, Commissioner. First, I was just curious, when will your vehicles get delivered?
Well, that's the other issue, is the lead time for some of the trucks, post-pandemic has been up to 2 years. We've seen that back down to under a year again now. So it looks like we should have these probably, hopefully before next winter, but most likely beginning of the year 2025.
Okay, thank you. And then, since Emily's no longer here, I will ask the question about electric vehicles and trucks. And she would ask that every year, and I was just curious, because I really don't know if it's possible, if the technology is there or coming for these types of heavy equipment to be electrified.
Sure, the technology is definitely coming. It's not proven yet. There are some vehicles, things like electric trash trucks. Some communities are starting to pilot. The first thing we have to do, and we're working actually with the buildings department, is to procure some of the fast chargers. We'll need those for this large equipment. The level 2 chargers that we currently have now that you see throughout the city work great for the lighter duty vehicles, but the heavy duty vehicles need those class 3 fast chargers. So we're working with Eversource, has some grant programs right now, and we're trying to procure those for our yards, Craft Street and LH Street.
Well, I'm really happy that you are keeping that in mind.
Oh, definitely. No, it's coming.
Thank you very much.
Before I call on Councillor Getz, I'll say that we've been joined by Councillor Gentile from Ward 4 and Councillor Humphrey, who's not a member of the committee, but happy to have you here. And we have some other staff from DPW, Connor Roach. Connor, I don't know your title either.
The senior financial analyst.
And Connor, I know, Coleman, I know you're financial, but I'm not sure I have your title down, right?
It's Director of Finance and Administration,
Okay,
Public Works.
welcome. Councillor Getz.
Just the electrification was the question I had, but also too, just in terms of realizing a better return in terms of the trade-in value. Where does that impact? Do those dollars come back to you? Where do those dollars go? This is
Yes.
estimate, or, just in terms of the cost. Where does
No, good question, Counselor. So what, historically, we had traded the vehicles in, and a few years ago, we started using an online auction service, and we've seen a much larger return. I believe it was 2 years ago, we have a revolving fund that was set up and approved by the council. So any of those trade-in dollars go into the revolving fund, and those go towards fleet purchases.
What's that?
Yeah.
Councillor Vic Danver.
Also on the electric, the one question that I would have that hasn't been answered is, do you know enough about potential electric vehicles to know what the cost of a complete charge on, let's say, a dump truck or one of the heavy vehicles that we would have? Because I know that on the vehicle that I have, what would be, let's say at today's dollars, a $65 tank filling costs about $12 in electricity. So I would expect that we would save a significant amount of money. Do you know what those numbers might be for commercial vehicles?
I don't have that figure, Counselor, offhand. I mean, each piece of equipment is going to vary. Things like backhoes compared to a trash truck. A lot of it has to do with their duty cycles, what attachments they're running. But no, I don't currently have it. There would definitely be fuel savings with the electrics, though.
Thank you.
So are we all set? Questions? Does anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Councillor Leary's made a motion to approve. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that takes care of that one. The next one is 19624. Your Honor, the Mayor requesting authorization to appropriate and expend a total of $615,000 from Water Fund Surplus Account Number 6000-3599, $315,000 from Sewer Fund Surplus Account 6100-3599, and $300,000 for the purchase of hydro vacuum excavator trailer. Wow, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I want one of those.
Enhanced digging safety measures. Tell us more about that.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. I just will note there is a typo in here. This is a hydro vacuum excavator truck, not a trailer. Just so that's clear. This is a very large truck. This is larger than our 10-wheel dump trucks. And essentially you can think of this as a vacuum cleaner. So instead of going into the street and digging with a backhoe or excavator, we open up a much smaller diameter or lengthwise trench and vacuum the dirt out. So it does a couple things. And this came about, we don't currently own one of these vehicles. This is a new addition to the fleet. This past year, the Department of Labor and Safety conducted an inspection on our job site, and they highly recommended that we get one of these trucks. Will reduce the possibility of trench cave-ins because you have a much smaller trenching area, as I said, and also less chance of damaging surrounding infrastructure. So quite often, it's not uncommon for utilities to be mismarked or not, or additional utilities that weren't marked when we're digging, and we can damage those. And it happens on our utilities, also with NGrid and Eversource. So again, this eliminates those issues also because now you're vacuuming the material out, the dirt and gravel, instead of digging it out mechanically. This will be used exclusively by the Water and Sewer Division for those excavations of water pipes, gate valves, sewer lines, things of that nature.
Does it take less time than digging the trench?
Yes, much less time, especially when you're digging around the additional utilities. When utilities are nearby, you have to dig, and then someone has to go in and manually dig when you get close to the other pipe. This eliminates all of that also. So it's much safer, much more efficient. And you'll be seeing all the utilities. Boston Water and Sewer, this is all they use now.
Counselor Danberg?
On how it works, do you have to manually loosen up the soil, or is it a strong enough vacuum so that it will take compacted earth?
Yes, it's strong enough where it will suck the compacted earth right up. Like I say, it's a massive vacuum cleaner. Impressive piece of equipment, but very expensive.
Any other questions?
How big is the tube? What can go up into it?
The tube is, there's different sizes, but usually we excavate with an 8-inch diameter tube.
Demonstration.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Could you say your?
Usually we excavate with an 8-inch diameter tube.
I'm ready to move it, because that's more detailed than I needed.
I just have one more question.
Okay, Counselor Leary.
Commissioner, would this be used also for like cleaning out sewers or manholes or any of that in terms of maintaining our stormwater?
Yes, it can be used for that also. We do have the catch basin cleaners, but they're not designed to do the hydro excavating per se. It's much stronger suction, but this unit can be used in the catch basin. So to answer your question, yes.
Like the vacuum trucks, do we have 2 of those? The
Yes, yes, but those really can't be used they're not designed for the hydro excavation. This will do both of those. This will be the truck we'll be replacing going forward.
Okay, so it's a very handy vehicle to have. It's very adaptable you can use it for a lot of different projects.
Yes, and another very versatile piece of equipment.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
So hydro usually means there's water involved. Is there
Yes, so it will use water also.
It will use water to
That keeps the dust down, and it will help to break up the material.
I see. Okay, got it. So I think Counselor Rado
I'll
wanted
move
to move approval. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Okay. As amended, yeah. So make that as amended. Thank you.
No.
Okay, does somebody have something to say online? Did I miss something? No, okay. The next one is 199-24. Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to appropriate and expend a total of $500,000 from the water fund surplus available for appropriation account 6000-3599 to account, oh my gosh, 60A 40106-530203 water hydrant inspections, engineering services to fund a water hydrant flushing program to ensure proper water circulation and water quality within the water main system. You're on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this request is for $500,000 for an annual flushing program. We don't anticipate this to be that much going forward, but initially we have some design work we have to do. It also involves unidirectional flushing, where we open and close gate valves to change the direction of flow in the water system. That helps to clean the pipes also. And this is for hydrant inspection. So when they go out and flush the hydrants, they'll do a full inspection on every fire hydrant and give us a detailed report of what needs to be done. And also on the gate valves throughout the city that turn the water on and off at each location. There are about 2,000 hydrants currently citywide.
Questions, Councilor Rado?
So, Have we been doing this before?
We had been, Counselor. Utilities is one of our divisions where we have the largest shortage of, or the largest number of vacancies. We have about 16 vacancies in utilities. So water quality throughout the city is very important, and we haven't been able to fully staff this program, just keeping up with leaks and things of that nature. So we're looking to contract this service out. And again, it's also a little more involved with the unidirectional flushing and the inspection and recording of all the hydrants and the gate valves.
Is that latter work, is that being done for the first time, or has it been done in the past, but just not in the last few years?
Just not in the last few years. We had been flushing the system on a regular basis, not as detailed the inspections as this will be. Again, with tablets and software out in the field, we can do a much better job of locating these and doing those inspections right on site, and it goes right into the cloud, and we can access that software from there.
And so is there any other money in that account currently, or is the 500,000 funding the whole program?
The 500,000 is funding that program, yes.
What do you anticipate it costing next year and the year after?
Again, I think we're gonna have to find out because we can supplement some of this. This would be the cost for the whole program to initiate it and do it. I would anticipate probably about 300,000, but we'll have a better idea once we get through it this first season.
So do you anticipate changing the budget next year so that you allocate the $300,000 to this program?
That's our plan. I will say at this time last year, we had 54 vacancies in DPW. This year, we have 27 at this point in time. So we've cut that in half. If we see that continue, we'll be able to take more of this in-house because those positions are budgeted for. So this is just to ensure that we can maintain that water quality while those positions are vacant.
And what's happened to all the free cash or extra money that's been generated by those vacancies?
I'm sorry?
You had a lot of vacancies that you've now just been able to fill, which is terrific. What happened to the budget? The monies from the budget that were allocated for those positions that didn't go for salaries for a year or so?
Sure. So a lot of overtime. So a lot of it goes towards that. We have people working 7 days a week, but that's not sustainable. And this year we also put out on-call contracts, which we've never had for emergency services because we were burning our people out. So we have local on-call contractors that can respond to emergencies and actually have done some of the leak repairs for us this year.
Just so I understand, what you're basically saying is you had the vacancies, but it didn't result in anything falling to free cash because you either had to pay overtime or get contracted services to make up for the shortfall of people.
That's correct.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Please, go ahead.
Madam Chair, if I might, these are water account positions. So these aren't funds that would go to free cash. They stay in the water fund. So they then would be then used for contracts or for next year's operations. So these are not funds that then drop into free cash. Does that make sense, Counselor?
That helps. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Counselor Danberg?
I assume that the money that is being appropriated for the hydrant flushing would not be the same pool of funds that would be used to fix the hydrants that are out of order. Of those 2,000 hydrants that we have in the city, do you know approximately how many might be out of order? There's one on a street near me that's had the out of order ring on it for most of the winter.
Okay, no, I don't know the exact number, Counselor, but we do have record of all that. That's in our asset management software.
And where does the funding come from for the repair of those? And is that underway?
So that's in the water division. Yes, we do have a line for hydrant repairs and replacement parts in the water budget.
Okay, thank you.
Council Leary.
Thank you. Commissioner, one of the other things I was wondering about if this would make improvements in some of the difficult areas where we've had particularly dead-end roads, where you get water quality, drinking water quality, tap water that is, you know, discolored or not great quality. I'm thinking of one issue in Ward 1, particularly off Rustic Avenue, where I got a number of complaints about the water down there. And part of the issue was it was a dead-end road, and I'm wondering if you've been able to identify those problem areas, and you think this will help to solve any of those problems that we've had off and on over the last few years.
Yes, this is where this is most critical. Areas where the services are dead-ended or where there's large volume of water line, and there's not a lot of turnover. So say you have a larger water line than necessary. So that this is where the hydrant flushing is really critical in those two areas.
Okay, so you think that it will help improve any problems we've had in the past?
It will definitely help with that, yes.
That's great, thank you.
You may have said this, but do we get through all the hydrants in 1 year?
We're going to ensure we're doing that. That's why we're asking for the additional funding to ensure that we get through everything in 1 year.
Good. Any other questions? We have a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, Council Leary has made a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? Okay, that's unanimous. And the last one on this topic is, Her Honor the Mayor, this is 198-24. Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to accept and expend the state's revolving fund grant of $150,000 to update the stormwater asset management plan and to appropriate and expend the sum of $75,000 from the Stormwater Management Operating Reserve 2004 budget to provide the city's share of matching funds for this program. The grant also includes a $25,000 additional match of in-kind services from city staff. Now it's your turn, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, so essentially this is a $250,000 project. As you just read, $150,000 is a grant from the state's revolving fund grant. We'll be providing $75,000 from the stormwater reserve, and then $25,000. The in-kind is actually work that staff performs, so we track time spent on that. And that's the in-kind services, in case you were wondering. So that's really not cash, that is employee time, which is documented and submitted as part of the grant process. Again, this will update our stormwater improvement plan, which essentially is all of our operating systems in the stormwater, so our culverts. It identifies areas of maintenance and cleaning, and we'll prioritize those. So again, this hasn't been done since 2015, so this is way overdue. And ideal time for this grant to come up. We applied for it and just received it, and we'd like to get started on this right away once approved. This will help with our flooding. There are areas that need maintenance, as I said, throughout the city, and this will help prioritize those areas.
So how does the plan work? Is it software that you use to put information in about your assets?
It's a full evaluation of the assets, their condition. They look at the hydraulic flow of stormwater throughout the city, and then map it out from there, as determine what's most critical and what needs to be repaired first and should be repaired.
Councilor Leary?
Well, this is great news, Commissioner, that this project, I was wondering, you're talking about going ahead and identifying priority areas, but do you already have a list of areas that you know are going to be on that list? That are already?
Yes, so the original plan has all of those areas. It will just be reprioritizing some of those. And as part of the countryside school, we'll be doing some work there in the stream, some cleaning and maintenance back there. That is the ideal time to do while the school project's going on. We can get the equipment in. and not have to go through residents' yards or anything like that. So it will help with that also, identifying these projects that we have upcoming and coordinating that work.
Is that list available?
Yes, we can actually give you we can provide you with, let me make a note,
Let's see that
of
list.
the stormwater plan.
And the priority areas where we've already experienced flooding?
Yes, yep, yes, many of those are in there.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Gotta give Vicky a chance.
Yeah, this is, extend and grant, motion to approve.
All right, so, we have a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstentions? Okay, unanimous. And now we get to the heart of the night. The budget. Do I have to read all of this into the record?
Yeah.
Okay. So. All right, here we go. So now we're doing the budget, and this will involve 8-24. Her Honor the Mayor submitting the fiscal years 2025 to 2029 capital improvement plan pursuant to section 5-3 of the Newton City Charter. And 194-24, Her Honor the Mayor submitting the FY 25 through 29 supplemental capital improvement plan. And 195-24, Her Honor the Mayor submitting in accordance with section 5-1 of the City of Newton Charter, the FY 25 municipal school operating budget, passage of which shall be not concurrent with the FY 25 to 29 capital improvement program 8-24, effective date of submission on 4/16, last date to pass the budget 5/31/24. All right, we're ready for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have a short presentation. If we can go through that, and then we'll be happy to go back and answer whatever questions we can for you. So thank you. This is our DPW City of Newton Department of Public Works budget presentation for FY 25. As most of you know, Public Works is made up of 7 divisions. Deputy Commissioner Shauna Sullivan listed here, along with our 7 division directors. This year, we have 2 additions to our team. Coleman Flaherty, who you all just met, is our new Director of Finance and Admin. Coleman comes to us with a wealth of experience in municipal finance and administration. He worked many years in the City of Boston in the auditing department, and as the Director of Finance and Admin in the Boston Transportation Department. Coleman also served as a Chief Financial Officer for the City of Boston Credit Union, so well-versed in the municipal finance, and has been a great help this year. And our new Director of Transportation, Ned Codd, who many of you have met and worked with so far, just joined our team in January. Ned's an experienced transportation planner and civil engineer. He has experience in both the public and private sectors. For the past 8 years, he worked in the private sector and in the public sector as a New England Planning Director. And prior to that, he was an Assistant Secretary and the Director at the Office of Transportation at MassDOT. We're excited to have Ned and Coleman as part of our team. I'd just like to recognize the many contributions of all the members of the DPW team for their dedication, support, and service to the community. We have a really great crew to be working with here. Our Streets and Sidewalks Division, again, headed up by Bernie McDonald, who came to us last year from Waltham, lifelong highway division head. The streets and engineering divisions and our consultants work together to continue to accelerate our sidewalk and road improvement program. We continue to investigate and we'll pilot low carbon concrete. We did a joint project with Brookline last year, and we're going to do our own this year just to see how the low carbon concrete is applied and also how it holds up, especially in the elements areas where we salt the sidewalks and things of that nature. We're also awaiting the arrival of our new asphalt recycler, which will allow us to reuse all of our old asphalt. Currently, we have that hauled away and disposed of at a cost. So this will be cost effective and is more environmentally friendly option as it recycles the materials and reduces carbon emissions. As well, we'll not need to go to the asphalt plant every day where we spend a significant amount of time, especially in the winter, waiting in line. The plant will break down. This machine will produce 6 tons of a ton of asphalt every 10 minutes. So about 6 tons an hour, which will, again, not only reduce, we won't have to pay for disposal of this anymore, but we're reusing our old concrete. And then our streets crews will continue to focus on sidewalk and ramp repairs in the upcoming year to improve accessibility throughout the city. Our transportation division, as I said, is now led by Ned Codd and his team. The transportation division is responsible for, as many of you know, traffic calming, street lights and traffic signals, parking meter maintenance and collection, all signage throughout the city, and pavement markings, along with providing transportation-related engineering oversight on our city projects, both commercial and municipal. The transportation also collects data, conducts technical analysis, and implements traffic calming pilots to ensure that projects improve safety and function well. We're implementing a number of new traffic calming projects in FY25 that will include the Elliott Street corridor, Waverly Avenue at Franklin Street, Brookline Street at Hartman Road, Commonwealth Ave at Temple Street, and California at Chapel. The Transportation Division is also piloting a solar-powered LED streetlight fixture for potential replacement of our city's gas lamp infrastructure. Currently, we have, I believe it's just under 80 of these gas lamps still throughout the city. If this is successful, this will allow us to replace the gas lamp fixtures while preserving the historic look of the gas lamps and increasing pedestrian lighting in these low-lit areas. We're also in the process of refining our GIS management system to inventory and track the condition of all of our pavement markings, so we can also develop a prioritization and maintenance plan for the pavement markings. The division continue to work closely with the Traffic Council to review proposed parking changes, refine parking regulation, and develop policy to increase safety citywide. Our Sustainable Materials Management Division, headed up by Juanita Trabert, who does a phenomenal job and is a real advocate for all things trash recycling, reuse. Her division is responsible for the curbside collection of residential and municipal waste, recycling, and yard waste. We'll continue to provide excellent collection services and ensure that our service is efficient and meets residents' expectations. We do that through data tracking with GPS software and our 311 reports for missed pickups during your trash day. This is the 3rd year the division is collecting yard waste in-house. We took that on during the pandemic after Waste Management could not continue that service. Having the collection in-house allows us to respond to unforeseen issues like this past year. We extended the collection due to weather conditions. We had many storms running right into the winter months, and this also provides additional staffing for our winter operations, snow plowing, filling potholes when they're not collecting yard waste for the other 40 weeks of the year. The division will continue recycling education and inspection of curbside recycling carts, which we conducted last year. This will ensure that we remain under 10% contamination, which is required by our disposal contract. So it's critical we maintain that, or we are charged that contamination rate, anything over 10%. And we have not seen that rise above that since we started this education program, when we were first at 18% originally, was our contamination rate. We're also focused on planning for the FY26 waste and recycling collection contract. So our current contract expires next June 30th. We've been working closely with the town of Brookline to co-release an RFP for curbside collection of trash, recycling, organics collection, cart fleet services, pickups for larger items, and dumpster services. This is everything we currently have contracted. The responses for this RFP are actually due next week. We've had multiple meetings with large vendors. It's important to note that the RFP provides an a la carte approach to the trash services, so we'll be able to pick and choose each service we want to use. We don't have to choose all the options, and each community will have their own separate contract, so it won't impact the other community if there are issues, or if one community wanted to back out of the contract. We'll continue to update you all as we progress through this RFP process. We'll obviously be coming back to you and educating you on if this was successful or not. This is really the first time this has been approached in our area. We're the first two communities to do that, and this was one of the recommendations from a study that Juanita had conducted through a grant from the state last year. In addition, we'll begin to project to assess local recycling markets to identify opportunities to improve the resource recovery center, evaluate collection services and current policies for improvement in those processes. The recycling center does take many items, as many of you know, mattresses, things of that nature, scrap metal, household hazardous waste. We'll also be focusing on increased diversion of organics from the waste stream. As you know, organics make up close to 30% of our trash. That will help increase environmental sustainability while reducing costs for trash disposal. To obtain this goal, we'll be promoting our curbside organics partnership and drop-off collection, which we now have throughout the city, with our preferred vendor through social media campaigns, citywide mailings, and also free starter kits for residents that have interest in partaking in the organics collection program. Our transportation network improvement program. This year, we're expecting to pave 66 streets with our $9.5 million in annual funding and additional ARPA funds for the neighborhood roadways. We'll be using the more environmentally friendly cold-in-place pavement treatment on 2 roads that meet this criteria. This treatment is for when roads need to be fully reclamated, which is a long process. If any, the last one we did was Adams Street. Councilor Leary, I'm sure you'll remember the impacts of that. The cold in place, what that does is that grinds all the asphalt, puts it into a container where additional asphalt is mixed in, and it reapplies that same material back on the road all in one process. This is a very long train. The last time we did this was on Chestnut Street. So we're looking forward to doing that. We are working with our consultant. We've developed as you know, our citywide, we talked about this, a sidewalk and ADA ramp condition analysis, and we're now developing our long-range plan for repairs and replacements, just like we do with the roads. Same similar process there. Paving and sidewalk contractors, along with our streets team, will be repairing and replacing sidewalks throughout the city. This year, focusing on areas around Williams Ward and Underwood schools. So we've started doing this around the elementary schools, working in an 1/8 mile radius, and then we'll work our way out as we progress through the schools. Our engineering division will continue to manage and provide oversight to construction projects like our Transportation Network Improvement Program. The Commonwealth Ave Carriageway project is getting underway. Needham Street, they're actually out there paving now, so you definitely don't want to be near Needham Street this week, but that project is coming right along with bike lanes, intersection improvements, and other traffic calming projects that our engineering division works on. We'll also develop final design of the Bullows Pond Dam to comply with the DCR's Office of Dam Safety order. While continuing to work with the Bullows Pond Working Group, we have some local counselors on that and also the community. Fleet management, some of you were recently out there. Travis Mosca is our fleet director, does a great job out there. Is really working to make the fleet more efficient. He led the charge to convert our sedan fleet. So all of our non-emergency sedans are now fully electric. Again, he's continuing to investigate opportunities to provide environmentally friendly electric and alternative fuel vehicles. He's evaluating options for our larger equipment, as we talked about earlier. We demoed a hybrid street sweeper. And then we're looking at loaders and the medium to large dump trucks. I anticipate probably within the next 3 years, we'll start to see our first purchases of those once we have that charging infrastructure in place. As we said earlier, we're working with public buildings to obtain grant funds to add that electric charging infrastructure to our yards, which is the first step in bringing on these heavy-duty electrics. We're also in the process of installing a new fuel management system, including software and hardware for the vehicles for better analysis, data, and reporting. The new technology is cloud-based, which allows for remote monitoring of the system. So if there is an issue with the fuel system, we have 2 fueling stations, one at Crafts, one at Elliott Street, and those are used for all city vehicles, including police and fire. So that's a 24/7 operation. And the current system is outdated and no longer supported. So this will definitely help in any of those issues there. Fleet will also be opening the completely rehabilitated wash facility, which I'm sure you saw if you were out there recently. This is for all city vehicles and equipment. And this also ensures our compliance with stormwater regulations, as we need to be able to capture that water. This is all state-of-the-art technology. We have the oil water separator in place. And this also really helps remove those corrosive materials from our winter months, from our vehicles and equipment. This has an underbody wash also on it, so it will help prolong the life and make repairs easier on our fleet of vehicles and equipment. Customer service. In FY25, customer service is working to improve call pickup time. We'll continue to explore software solutions to enhance customer satisfaction. Right now, on the bullet points here, you see we've had an increase of almost 6% for calls just over the last year. So over 56,000 calls come into customer service, and over 22,000 requests have been entered into the 311 system so far this fiscal year. So not even done yet with that number that's been entered in. Now to our utilities, the DPW, the water division. Currently, we're approaching we're in the high 40% range for completion of the water meter replacement project. As you all know, the system failed prematurely, but we were approaching a time where we needed to replace the system anyhow. So again, that's been going very well. Currently, the contractor's replacing about 500 a week. So right now, hopefully we'll be substantially complete early winter this year, early to mid-winter. with the majority of those water meter replacements. We talked about and hope have approval for, once the council votes it in, is enhancing our hydrant flushing program, as we talked about, how critical that is to ensure excellent water quality, the properly functioning valves, and the fire hydrants. We're continuing with our water main cleaning, relining, and replacement program. We'll provide that list of areas that we'll be in during our stormwater rate presentation, which will be coming up. And we're currently inventorying all of our water service pipes to determine material as part of EPA's revised lead and copper rule, which goes into effect this first phase in October of this year. We're enhancing the inventory using photos taken during the water meter replacement project also. And this is all in a database, so we can go in and look at those and identify areas where we may have lead services. DPW Sewer Division. Again, we are in Area 9. We anticipate that will take over a year to complete constructions. It includes a number of repairs and replacements in challenging conditions. A lot of this is in Oak Hill, where we have a very high water table. So those excavations, we need to require pumping of water when we're digging. And again, many more repairs down in that area, most likely due to that high water table. We'll begin Area 10 construction as soon as the Area 9 is complete. Again, it will be, usually we do one area a year. Area 9 is probably going to take us at least a year and a half, if not 2 years. We also continue with our pump station rehabilitations, which we put into the CIP. Last year was the first year of that, so we had design. This year, we're starting out with HVAC replacements to ensure any new components we put in there are in a good atmospheric condition to prevent as much corrosion as possible. The Utilities Division will continue with the illicit discharge detection and elimination program, which is also part of our NIPDES and MS4 permit. And that will continue on a yearly basis. This year, stormwater. So with summer coming up, we'll continue to monitor water quality at Crystal Lake and retreat it again if necessary. We've been successful doing that over the last 2 years. Construction will start on the Union Street Drainage Project, which has been designed and has been in the CIP for some amount of time now. We'll be constructing that this year. We're gathering the data needed to seek an alternate schedule with the EPA for our phosphorus reduction requirements. We talked to you about this. We talked stormwater. Part of that phase 2 of the EPA allows you to ask for that alternative schedule. We're also the first ones asking for this. We're way ahead of most communities on this. So there'll be more to come on that throughout the year. We're also enhancing the catch basin cleaning program to clean and inspect all the city's catch basins in 1 year. As you know, over the last year and a half, with the excessive rainfall we're seeing, normally we only do half the basins a year. What we found this year is with all the rain, many basins were filling up faster than normal. So we're going to, over the next 2 years, we're asking for funding to clean every catch basin in the year, and that will also be in our asset management system. So after the second year, we'll be able to tell which basins need to be cleaned on a regular basis and which can go back to biannual or every other year. We'll be, as I spoke earlier, we'll be cleaning the brook and culvert behind the Countryside School in coordination with the school project. And the city conservation agent. Okay, I know that was a lot. So happy to go back. This year, Public Works' entire budget is proposed for just over $104 million. That is a 5.51% increase over last year.
Can I just ask one question before, I ran into the mayor before the meeting, and I asked her, you know, there's a lot of talk about the school department with a 5.2% increase about the fiscal cliff. I said, are we gonna have a fiscal cliff? And she said, no, because we're only hiring 8 new staff as opposed to the school department that will be hiring many more. How many, are you hiring any new staff in your department?
We are not, Counselor. As I spoke earlier with, even with, we were able to hire, again, 27 new employees this year that were budgeted for. We still have those 27 vacancies, so it just wouldn't make any sense for us. We may really have to take a close look next year at staffing or having to contract out some other areas, if we can't fill these voids. So no, we still have 199 employees. That's 188 full-time and 11 part-time. That is the exact number we had last year.
Thank you for that. So Counselor Danberg.
Thank you. I'll go first. First of all, thank you very much for this very informative presentation, Commissioner. I want to extend my congratulations and kudos to you and your Deputy Commissioner, Shauna, and everyone else who works in and around Public Works and DPW for the marvelous job that they do in keeping our city running. DPW is what makes this city run. It's what takes care of all of the needs that the city and its residents have on a day-to-day basis. You take care of the streets, the utilities, the stormwater. You bring us clean water. You clear our snow, and you clear our trash. And that's a huge piece of work. I have a few questions. One on the installation of sidewalks. You mentioned that you installed 4 miles of concrete sidewalks, which is great. How many miles of roadway does not have sidewalk at this point? How many linear miles are we missing?
We do have this number, Counselor. I don't recall offhand. Currently, we have 450 miles of sidewalk. I will get you that. We'll take a list. We'll take note of what we can't answer, and we'll provide everything in the Friday packet to you, if that's okay.
Thank you. That's fine. I also want to congratulate you on continuing to clear Route 9. I continue to hear from residents on Route 9 as to how grateful they are that they are now able to use their sidewalk, and many of them walk to the T. And you've enabled them to do that. We do not own that roadway, and the trucks that go by really fast make a mess of those sidewalks, and you have done a great job of keeping them clear. On sustainability, composting, for one thing, we collected 780 tons of food waste. Is that under the Black Earth program?
Yeah, so that would be the Black Earth program and also the drop-off program, which we instituted this year. And there has been drop-off at Rumford Avenue also.
Okay, and that drop-off was an additional 20 tons, according to what you just told us. The organics still continue to be 30% of our total tonnage. Is that true?
It will be less, obviously, with again, as we try to grow, and the curbside Black Earth program does grow at a small amount each year. Again, still many residents to go for everyone to subscribe to that. But yes, we'll be below that. And Juanita will have all those numbers at the end of the fiscal year, which we'll definitely be sharing with you.
Okay, and I just want to express how important I think that that is to the city to increase the amount of tonnage of compost waste that we collect. And it not only reduces the total tonnage that we have in our waste system, but it keeps that tonnage out of landfills and wherever else we put it. Union Street. You talked about, under engineering, the, streets and intersections, actually mostly intersections that you have designed, improvement projects at. I was not, able to find the Union Street project. I'm sure it's in here someplace. Because this is something that, I've been working with the DPW for a number of years when we, much to our surprise, discovered that there was no stormwater system at all on Union Street. We thought we had it, but when one of the businesses tried to connect to it, we realized that it's not there. So I understand that the mayor mentioned it in her speech last night, and I did not catch the timing for it. Is that going to be installed this summer?
It will be put out to bid, Counselor. Actually, we'll probably bid that before the end of the fiscal year, and then we'll be coming back to you for approval of that project once we receive the bid. So that will happen this summer. Construction, it really depends on the contractor. Will either be start in the fall or definitely in the spring.
That's great news to my ears. Thank you very much. That's gonna hugely improve Union Street.
Council Danbury, could I suggest that we limit ourselves to 3 questions? and then
Okay,
Go
I'll stop
around
there.
again.
Yep, I'll
Okay,
stop there.
and I'll
Thank
come
you.
back to you again. Anybody else? Council Leary?
Thank you. Commissioner and your team, I just want to also share the accolades from that Councilor Danberg had just said. It's so impressive the amount of work that you are doing, the amount of projects you're balancing, and the amount of improvements you're making to critical areas like water, sewer, stormwater, our streets, our sidewalks, and sustainable materials management. You know, I have a special interest in that, and I usually just go right to the horse's mouth for that. For my questions there, I'm overdue to have breakfast with Juanita, so I want to talk to her. But I'm super interested in the new RFP where we're going to be sharing our work with Brookline, with regards to our trash and recycling pickup. And I think that makes so much sense for rather than isolated communities to each be doing their own thing when we could work as a larger group. And finally breaking up our love affair with waste management maybe as well, and finally going out to bid. It sounds like that might happen. And I think it's really important to think outside the box and finally do an RFP. And find out where we can get our best bang for our buck. So I'm very interested in that. And with Black Earth, I'm wondering what's the limit for us to get the price to drop for?
You know, offhand, I don't recall, Counselor, but we will get you that number because we have that also. That is part of the contract. As we hit certain thresholds, it will reduce the price.
They kicked it up a little higher, I think, which.
Yeah, I mean, like everything else, everyone's costs have gone up.
Now, there's so much information here. It could be a really long conversation. I'm just gonna ask one more question. And I'm very interested in obviously bike infrastructure. And I wanted to know if we are funding a bicycle infrastructure plan, if that is gonna happen.
So that's currently in the works with planning. We'll actually be seeing that pieces of that product. Again, once our new planning director, Jen Martin she'll hit the ground running, but she'll have some catching up to do. But I believe that's one of her top priorities also. So that is in the works. Josh Ostroff did start that prior to him leaving.
Well, I'm super excited to work with Jen Martin on that. I think she'll be terrific. I just wanted to make sure that was going to be funded because it's, I think, a really important priority, well, for me and many other residents of the city.
Oh, yes, it's funded.
Okay, I'll hold it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just, a couple of questions. In terms of the operating highlights, it talks about a $2.2 million in FY '23 for the snow. It's talking about the budget, but yet in this upcoming one, you've got a $5 million number somewhere. I mean, I'm just wondering what happens to the difference there. Does that-
Sure, Counselor, and so each year we try, first I'll back up. Our average cost for snow is about 5.6 million a year, I believe. Obviously, this year we had 14 inches of snow. Our average is close to 60. But a lot of our costs also are just response. So we also track the number of events. So we average around 25 to 30 events per year. An event can be us going out salting, plowing snow, whatever it may be. It's a call out. So we had 14 events this year, even though we only had 14 inches of snow. A lot more icing, salting events. We had some significant windstorms also. So that all comes into play there.
So the difference between the 5 million that's proposed for next year, it's just sitting there. But then I'd have to go back and look. So it's saying that, for the ice control was almost 5 million in '24. So
I think Deputy Commissioner Sullivan.
I would love to explain to you. The CFO has been growing the snow budget so that the actual costs are reflected in the DPW budget. So each year it increases to cover the entire cost instead of looking to free cash.
So let me see if I have this right. So you're trying to fully fund snow removal in the budget as opposed to a part of it in the budget and a part of it in free cash.
Yes.
Yes. Does that make more sense?
right, but then, so in terms of the cost, I'm just wondering what happens with those $2.5 million. It never flows into the system. If in fact.
It drops back down to free cash if we don't use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and then just even in terms of looking at the incremental differences between each of these line items, I mean, it sort of looks like the main one was, that's coming is 2 million for water. So if I had to go back and look at, what those 2 million are gonna go for. It's just, I'm looking at the difference between, what is the original and then to the proposed and which ones have the largest delta. So it's a $2 million difference, right?
Sure, but so Counselor, so the water is totally dependent on consumption. So if we have a dry year, our water revenues will be higher. And our budget will be higher because we purchased more water from the MWRA. So we pay per gallon to receive the water and also per gallon to dispose of the water. So as we see drier years, usually our water consumption goes up significantly, and that will reflect that budget. These are enterprise funds, so these dollars can't be used for anything else. As Jonathan mentioned, anything extra there would not drop to free cash. It would stay within that enterprise fund. So water funds can only be used for water, sewer can only be used for sewer, and stormwater only for stormwater.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, yeah.
Counselor Gentile.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear to everybody regarding the questions on the snow removal budget. For years, we have had a heavy reliance on funding snow removal with free cash. And I'm sure that the councils that have been around understand, but for those who haven't, Maureen has every year been trying to reduce the reliance on free cash to accurately reflect the cost of snow removal. It was something that it really would have had a major impact on the budget if she tried to do it in 1 year. So gradually, every year, she's been increasing the amount of snow removal in actual the budget for Public Works. And sounds like she's getting very close to what the average is. So it's been it's been something that she's been working on year after year. Finally, as I say, it looks like we're getting to the point where she's reached the goal of at least matching what the average is. So it'll help us in terms of one less burden on free cash by putting it into the operating budget. She's done a great job.
Anybody else? Any questions? You want to come back to you? I have a few, but I can wait.
Yes, just a comment and a couple of questions. I'm very glad to hear that you have a program to repair and replace the accessible ramps. We've been working on these now for long enough so that the ones that we did early on need repair and replacement. Are we at a point where we have all of the accessible ramps or most of them that we need, or are we still installing accessible ramps on corners?
Yes, Counselor, so we're still installing. Many of these ramps are not compliant, so they don't meet the proper slope for ADA requirements, or they don't have that yellow tactile pad that you see. Those are all requirements now. That when these were installed originally, these requirements didn't exist. So yes, we still have quite a bit of work to do. I want to say, and don't quote me, that's why I don't always like giving the numbers, but there's about 8,000 ped ramps currently in the city. The percentage is more than you would think that are non-compliant. I want to say it's in the 40s. So there's still thousands of ramps that we need to bring into compliance.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The sewer illicit discharge detection and elimination program that you mentioned. I remember when we had our first round of replacement of water meters, and the people who replaced the water meters were trained to also look for illegal hookups and discharge into the streets or the sewers. How are we handling that now? Are we only doing it with the replacement now since we're replacing water meters again? Or is there an additional way that we're finding these illicit hookups?
Sure. So there's a couple ways. As you mentioned, part of the water meter replacement program is we have a whole database now, and it's all mapped out in GIS. We can see if the meter was replaced, you can go into each address. There'll be a photo of the meter, a photo of the water pipe coming into the meter. And there's also a checkbox if there's a sump pump visible. So all that data we'll have for every property after this. And then also we really see the discharges. It mainly becomes an issue in the winter when people are discharging their sump pumps or discharging it across the sidewalk or the street, and we get icing conditions. So we see it then, and then we also have our inspectors out there who look for it, and the people that report it through the 311 system.
Two short things. One is, how many linear miles of sidewalk did we clear this year? I remember a few years ago it was 85. Is it more than that now?
It's not much more than that. We may have added a mile or two. The problem is we're maxed out. with what we can do in-house. We put this out to bid 3 times this year and did not receive 1 bid for sidewalk snow clearing. So until we can come up with a solution for that, we're really maxed out, but and working with Safe Routes to Schools, I think we're in pretty good shape for the most part on those major walking routes. We'd love to do more, but for some reason, this is just work that people don't even want to bid on.
Yeah. I also noticed that, all of the property that the city owns seems to have been cleared of snow eventually. I understand that you can't get it all done within the first 24, 48 hours, but, everything that I saw that belonged to the city eventually got cleared, so, good for you, that did not used to happen, in the bad old days. And my last question is, we, used to lose a lot, before we started the replacement program, the water and stormwater replacement program or relining program, we lost a huge percentage of the water that came in. Let's say we purchased 100 gallons and we billed out 50 gallons, or some number like that. Approximately where are we now, percentage-wise, with the improvements and the relinings that we've done?
Sure. So we report on this each year to the DEP. It's part of our requirements for our permitting. And initially, when this started, the city was over 40% of unaccounted for water. Right now, we're about in the mid-20s, so we're making progress. We still have a ways to go. A perfect system is around 10, so a brand new system has about a 10% unaccounted, unbillable water. So we're getting there. It's our understanding also that the meter replacement program will help with that, because as meters get older, they're not as accurate and they don't speed up, they slow down. So again, that hurts that unbillable water number also. So it'll be interesting to see 2 years from now where we really stand, because we'll be 2 more years into the lining replacement program and we'll have all the meters replaced and we'll have a year of good data there.
That's great. Thank you very much.
So I have a few questions. I have to say, we've been joined by Councilors Maliki and Councilors Bixby. First of all, kudos to Juanita for the new organics drop-off. It's amazing when I carry those bags, because it's almost across the street from me, the drop-off by City Hall. And I carry these bags that are like heavy. And I'm thinking about all of this that used to go into the trash that's now going into the organics drop-off. And often the drop-off is full, so a lot of people must be using it. And that's a terrific innovation, I think. It should make a huge difference. Is she planning to add more drop-off spaces or places?
Yes, so far, the program's been very successful. We were leery of the success we would have, or if people would continue. The containers are locked. If you're not using it, they're locked, and you can get the access, get the code combination. And it's worked very well so far. So very responsible community that's excited about this, I think, and I'm sure we're going to see it expand throughout the city.
That's great. So the yard waste that you pick up instead of having the contractor do it, what do we do with that yard waste?
So the yard waste is stockpiled at Rumford, and then it's hauled to a compost facility from there.
Okay, so we don't make the compost, we take it to somebody.
In years.
Do we pay for that?
Yes, yes, we pay for disposal.
Okay,
It's solar.
all right, so that was that question. So sidewalks, all over the city, there are sidewalks where, trees have raised a sidewalk a couple of inches, and I imagine people are falling all over the city because of these raised sidewalks. How do you, is that a 311 kind of a thing that where the people need to let you know where there's a problem?
Yes, we do accept that in 311 council. I can tell you right now, there's about 1,800 We had thousands of these when we started this program a few years back. Now we have every foot of sidewalk mapped, and the condition. And again, it's just about like the roads, it's getting that work done. We let it go for so long and now we're playing catch up. But we do have, we're attacking it systematically. It helps if anyone lets us know if there's someone that, you know, has accessibility issues. We will definitely prioritize those. We do that all the time. And then it's just doing that work and scheduling it. We have 3 methods of sidewalk repairs. One, when we do major paving, we do all the sidewalk and curb ramps. We also have a contract now just for sidewalk repairs and replacement. And since Bernie McDonald came on board in our streets division, he's built an excellent sidewalk. We have 3 crews now that do sidewalk in the summer internally, and they're very productive.
And it's good to know. I think I'll ask one more last question. The, let's see, which one was it? Oh, the traffic calming. So I noticed, you know, when I first became a counselor, people were complaining about Mill Street. And they asked for traffic calming on Mill Street, and now this year, the people on Mill Street, it must be, the generations have turned over and new people are asking for traffic calming on Mill Street, but yet nothing has happened. Could you be able to provide us a list of all the traffic calming streets that are on the list and how you prioritize them?
Yes, we will. We have that. We'll provide you. It's online. And we will provide you that. It explains the whole formula for how we score these, and it has every traffic calming request that we've looked at in there. I believe there's about 180 of them right now, and they're all scored. And again, we prioritize those from number 1 on down.
Okay, good to know.
And we'll provide you that link also.
Okay, very good. I think you answered all my other questions from reading the budget during your presentation, which was really informative. But so we have to also vote on the CIP things, and I was just checking to see if you mentioned all of them, and I think most of them you did mention. You didn't mention the Edmonds draining the pond work in Edmonds, but you did tell us about that in a prior meeting. Is there
Yes, we'll be coming to you for some design work there.
Is there anything else it's in the CIP for this coming year that you want to mention to us that you didn't cover?
No, I mean, I don't even have it right in front of me, but I think we covered the majority of the projects.
We did.
Maybe ones, yeah, I think we got all of them except, no, I think we covered everything. You're right. Edmonds is in there just for design though, council. That's why we may not have mentioned that.
Okay. And the reconstruction of Commonwealth Avenue, I didn't realize we were putting a lot of our own money into that.
No, that's state funded.
Oh, okay, so the 6 million that's here.
Oh, we did design. CPC's funds were used for design.
Yeah, but
So
no construction funding, right, Jonathan?
there's money,
Yeah.
there's 6 million for reconstruction of Commonwealth Ave from
That's
East
all,
Auburn to.
that's all MassDOT money.
It's all what? Sorry. MassDOT?
That's all MassDOT money.
So should it be why is it in the CIP budget then?
Well, council, we'll show,
Well,
like
we've,
you've seen.
for the
Needham
last several
Street.
years, yeah.
Okay, so maybe we should have a footnote on it that it's not Newton money, it's state money. I think that would be helpful for people to
Under
understand what's going on.
yeah, under funding source, it should say state.
Well, maybe it does somewhere else, but in this chart, it doesn't. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. Let me look again.
Yeah.
Eligible ARPA state, it's kind of a mismatch of stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of these projects have multiple funding sources.
Okay. All right. So I guess we can, unless anybody else has any questions, anybody else? Then we can vote on these. We're voting to recommend to the council approval. So, does anybody want to make a motion?
Hold on, what, are you voting on is this the capital plan or the budget or,
We can do the capital first, and then we can do the budget, the operating budget.
okay,
I'll move approval of 824 CIP
And probably 194
and 194-24.
Okay, so Counselor Danberg has moved approval for the CIP items. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, no, abstentions, okay, and the last one. Counselor Leary, do you have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 195-24, the submittal of the FY25 municipal school operating budget.
Okay, so any other discussion?
yeah, Madam Chair.
Counselor Gentile, go ahead.
So I just wanted to make one comment. I believe I heard earlier that there are negotiations going on regarding the trash contract. And that we have at least initiated a major change in how we've done the contract in the past. I guess I'm not surprised, but I guess I would express my disappointment that first thing I've heard about it is the finance chair. And we talk often about, being collaborative. It would have been nice to get some information from the administration about the contract and this change in submitting I guess a bid with the town of Brookline. It may be a great idea, but it would have been good to hear about it. So I would request that we would get more information on this, though it's pretty late in the process. If not, I guess I could docket an item to bring people in to discuss it, but I just want on the record the fact that it would have been nice to hear about this change in proposal on such a major financial impact to the city as this contract prior to tonight.
Counselor
Yeah, I'll
Rado?
just add, Mr. Yo, I think, obviously it would be helpful to keep us informed. It'd also be helpful to inform us if the administration plans on doing this for other contracts going forward. It may be a wonderful idea. I'm not suggesting it's not. You probably get some efficiencies by doing it that way, but if that is the thinking, or if this is meant to be kind of a pilot, I think it'd be helpful to have a discussion in finance about that process. That's all.
Yeah, I had also.
Agreed. We'll provide you with the link to Brookline's purchasing page, where you can get all the details on the RFP.
I think though, Mr. Yo, it's a little bit different than that. I think what we're trying to understand is the rationale of the administration for doing this in combination with Brookline. Why Brookline as opposed to, say, Wellesley? What are the costs? What are the costs involved with doing it jointly? What are the benefits? And do you envision this being kind of a test, so to speak, for other initiatives like that? And again,
Agreed.
I'm not suggesting it's not a great idea. I just think we want to understand the thinking behind it much more.
I think there might be elements of this contract that we should discuss in this committee as well.
Absolutely,
If
but I do think, I want to understand procedurally if we're going forward with this as a different way of soliciting proposals. That belongs in finance because that affects the entire city.
Right.
For this particular contract, I agree, we should have a discussion here.
Okay, so noted, Counselor Gentile and Counselor Laredo.
Right.
And I just wanted to say that I know I've been hearing about this for over a year, and it's been very planned out. It is mostly for cost savings, because we're really looking at a big problem with waste going forward, how we're gonna manage it. And I think Juanita would be a good resource to answer a number of those questions, and maybe she should be brought in.
Good to have her
Sure.
come, yeah.
Yeah, we've been looking for a time when Juanita Traber could come to this committee, so maybe when the budget is over, she can come on in.
And if I could suggest, she's given us wonderful presentations in the past. I think generally we're familiar, except for our new folks, with the work she does. So if the emphasis could be more on this particular issue and the thinking behind it, that would be
Yeah.
helpful.
Great. Okay, so let's see, did we vote on this one yet?
Not yet, but I think what you're voting on is the approval of the public works portion. of the
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, we won't be voting on the whole thing. So that was your motion to
Yes.
recommend
To recommend
approval
approval.
of the public works
Yes.
portion of the budget. All right, I don't think we voted, right?
You did not.
No. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? All right, good work, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much, all of
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Well,